Nini itakuja wanionyeshe huyo ndiye alikuwa mtoto wako. Na sijui hata nikiona nitasema nini na nitafanya nini. Ni maombi tu.
And Boeing's fortunes are still going down.
And probation officers in Nyamira attacked for demanding free bond for imprisoned government officials.
Border boys came in whom we had come with. They started beating us. Then he remarked, "Today we are going to burn you here."
NTV Tonight with Dennis Okari and Olive Burrows.
Thank you for joining us in this news broadcast. Our sign language presenter tonight is David Gondoa. Flora Atieno, I'm told, rather. The Judicial Service Commission has written to Justices Jackton Ojwang, Smokin Wanjala, Mohammed Ibrahim and Joaquin Dungu, giving them 14 days within which to respond to allegations of bribery raised in a petition by lawyer Omwanza Ombati.
The JSC's move comes after sitting today to discuss the petition seeking to remove the 4 judges of the Supreme Court accused of corruption following their decision to uphold the election of Wajir Governor Mohammed Abdi.
NTV's Silas Apollo reports on the fresh allegation coming in the wake of an increased onslaught on the judiciary.
According to a communication from the Judicial Service Commission, the team today had its first sitting following allegations that 4 judges of the country's apex court had been bribed to deliver a biased ruling. The 4 have 14 days to respond to the allegations, and according to sources, the judges will be seeking quick resolution of the matter with the involvement of the DCI. The petition was triggered by the Supreme Court ruling on the Wajir governorship election, pitting incumbent Mohammed Abdi and his predecessor Ahmed Abdullahi. Justices Jackton Ojwang, Mohammed Ibrahim, Smokin Wanjala and Joaquin Dungu, all 4 who upheld the election of Mohammed despite what his challenger says was overwhelming evidence that showed his win was rigged, are targeted. The 4 judges have been accused of taking bribe and failing to follow due process, including a failure to allow some evidence, thereby making a judgment that the petitioners termed as flawed. Justices Ndungu and Wanjala are specifically accused of engaging with the agents of the Wajir governor with the intention of receiving bribes running into tens of millions of shillings. The governor's election had been nullified by both the High Court and the Court of Appeal before the ruling was overturned by the Supreme Court in a majority ruling of 4 against 2. Chief Justice David Maraga and Justice Isaac Lenaola gave dissenting opinions. The petitioner alleged that sometimes in September 2018, one of the judges drove to Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, where an exchange of an equivalent of 75 million shillings in dollars was passed on to him by a lawyer at the parking lot. Another transaction is alleged to have taken place in early January, where a law firm was reportedly asked to sell a property urgently to raise 60 million shillings. The petitioners allege that the proceeds from the sale was topped up to 300 million shillings and transferred by the law firm to 4 different bank accounts held at a local Islamic bank. The petition claims that a sitting MP, Adan Kainan, and Chief Administrative Secretary Mohammed Elmi were involved in the scheme. Working with them, the petition claims, were 2 law firms. These monies, says the petition, were eventually given to the MP, who on a date between the week of 4th and 7th of February 2019 ensured it reached some judges. Another transaction involving 15 million shillings is said to have taken place on February 11th at between 3 and 4 p.m. at a local bank in Eastleigh. It is also alleged that a person connected to the saga has been trying to tamper with call records and erase the trail of communication that linked them to the judges, and has been to the VIP center of a telecommunication company more than 40 times between mid-January and end of February. The petition follows a call by Chief Justice David Maraga, who has challenged those accusing judges of corruption to file evidence to assist with investigations. If the current petition is deemed serious, a recommendation will be made to the President to form a tribunal to determine the suitability of the judges to remain in office. Silas Apollo, NTV.
Staying with Supreme Court matters, Joseph Mutava can no longer serve as a judge. The man, known as the Patni judge, fails to convince the Supreme Court that a tribunal had wrongly found him unfit to serve.
The Supreme Court sided with the tribunal, which found that he was not fit to serve as a judicial officer, and recommended to President Uhuru Kenyatta to have him removed from the judiciary. NTV's Seth Olale captured the brief judgment issued by Justice Isaac Lenaola.
Accompanied by his wife, who is also the Kibwezi East MP, Jessica Mbalu, the former High Court judge appeared relaxed moments before the Supreme Court ruling. It was a final step for Joseph Mutava, who was fighting for reinstatement as a judicial officer after a tribunal chaired by Chief Justice David Maraga found him unfit to serve in 2016. He was suspended over the manner in which he handled the multi-billion shilling Goldenberg scandal and acquitted its chief suspect businessman Kamlesh Patni. He faced 11 counts of impropriety, 8 of which were dismissed by a subcommittee headed by Supreme Court Judge Smokin Wanjala. He appealed the tribunal's ruling at the highest court in the land through his lawyer Philip Nachoti. Justice Mutava had requested the Supreme Court to make a finding that the allegations against him did not amount to the need for his removal from the judiciary. The Supreme Court, however, upheld the tribunal's ruling through a summarized judgment delivered by Justice Isaac Lenaola on behalf of 4 other Supreme Court judges who were not present in court.
The petition of appeal dated 29 September 2016 is hereby dismissed. B, the tribunal's findings with regard to allegations 1 and 5 are hereby affirmed. Consequently, we hold that the petitioner's conduct amounted to gross misconduct contrary to Article 168(1)(e) of the Constitution. And C, for the avoidance of doubt, the tribunal's recommendation to the President for the petitioner's removal from office under Article 168(7)(b) of the Constitution is also affirmed. We shall make no orders to costs. And this is a unanimous decision of PM Mwilu, Deputy Chief Justice, MK Ibrahim, Judge of the Court, JB Ojwang, Judge of the Court, Joe Kindongo, Judge of the Court, and myself.
The Constitution of Kenya at Section 168, which addresses the removal from office of a judge, stipulates at Clause 9 that the President shall act in accordance with the recommendations made by the tribunal, leaving no room for alternative action and effectively sealing Joseph Mutava's fate. The Supreme Court's ruling means that Mutava is set to lose his justice title, cannot preside over any case in Kenya in any capacity, and has to make a fresh application at the Law Society of Kenya to practice law in the country. It's 3 years since President Uhuru Kenyatta officially received the JSC's report. Now the head of state can now implement its recommendation following today's Supreme Court judgment. Seth Olale, NTV at the Supreme Court, Nairobi.
From the judiciary to a story we've been following for you, the Ethiopian crash, and Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia released the government's latest statement on the crash this evening. Now, he says the government, in consultation with Ethiopian Airlines, is making all necessary arrangements to facilitate travel of families and relatives of the airplane crash victims to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Now, the Cabinet Secretary also adds that there is no Kenyan air operator that has in its fleet the affected aircraft type known as the Boeing B737 Max. He added that no foreign carrier is currently operating the aircraft type in the Kenyan airspace. It's a story that many countries are also still following up, and some countries have literally banned the travel of that fleet of aircraft into their airspace. So, Olive?
Staying with that story, Dennis, 29-year-old senior captain Yared Tesema Getachew, the main pilot of the ill-fated Ethiopian Airlines flight, has been mourned as kind, caring and a hard-working young man. His family on Tuesday congregated for an Islamic send-off prayer in Mombasa, with his body yet to be retrieved. The government has assured families of the victims of the air crash that they will be given transport to Ethiopia to help identify the bodies of their loved ones.
I'm coming home to Nairobi. I've forgotten my phone, but we'll talk once I get there. These were the last words Captain Yared Getachew uttered to his mother before taking off in the ill-fated Ethiopian Airlines jet on Sunday. The 29-year-old dual Ethiopian-Kenyan national was the main pilot on flight E2302. Emotions ran high at the Moi International Airport in Mombasa as family members arrived for a send-off prayer for their kin in accordance with Islamic rituals. The prayer, known as Salatul Ghaib, is conducted upon a dead Muslim whose body is yet to be found. Getachu's uncle, Khalid Shapi, who is also the family spokesman, says his nephew has been working with Ethiopian Airlines from when he was a cadet to a senior captain. The Kenyan-born, who schooled at Oshwal High School in Nairobi, had worked for Ethiopian Airlines since July 2010. He then became a captain in November 2017 on the Boeing 737-800. Ethiopian Airlines Group CEO Tewolde Gebremariam had said Getachew was an experienced pilot, logging over 8,000 hours in flight and some 1,500 as the pilot in command. The senior pilot issued a distress call shortly after departure and was told to return, but all contact was lost shortly afterwards. The plane then ploughed into the ground at Hejere near Bishoftu, killing all on board. The Ethiopian Airlines described Getachew as a very accomplished and confident pilot with an impeccable record. Zainab Ismail, NTV.
The United Kingdom, France and Germany have banned Boeing 737 MAX 8 planes from flying in their airspaces. This follows the March 10th Ethiopian Airlines crash, which killed all 157 people on board. This is the second aircraft of its type to crash in less than 5 months in different countries. Currently, more than 10 countries have grounded their MAX 8 fleets. This while Boeing's stock market price is in a steady decline, which stood at about 7% this evening.
The number of countries and airlines that have opted to ban or ground their Boeing 737 MAX 8 planes continues to rise. On Tuesday, the UK's aviation agency banned all Boeing 737 MAX 8 plane from UK airspace, followed by France and Germany. Singapore and Australia suspended operations of the aircraft in and out of their airports, similar to Argentina, China, India, Brazil and Ethiopia, among a list of others. It is 2 days after the ill-fated Ethiopian airline flight ET302 fell from the Ethiopian skies, killing all 157 on board. The aircraft model was a Boeing 737 MAX 8. Less than 6 months ago, Indonesia's Lion Air Boeing 737 MAX 8 flight also went down over the Java Sea, killing all 189 people on board. However, the United States, Russia, Italy and Dubai are among countries that will continue to fly the Boeing 737 MAX 8. This even as a U.S. senator urged the country's Federal Aviation Authority to ground operations of the 737 MAX 8 aircraft, citing concerns of airworthiness. Boeing, an American manufacturer, says in its latest statement that it has full confidence in the safety of the MAX 8, stating, and I quote, "Based on the information currently available, we do not have any basis to issue new guidance to operators."
Moving on with that story, when the list of the people who had lost their lives in the Ethiopian Airlines plane crash was released, it had been stated that Kenya had lost 32 people. That list was revised to bring the total number of Kenyan fatalities to 33 when one of the victims was found to have been of dual citizenship. The family of Derek Luogi now wants the government to help them bury their kin here in Kenya. NTV's Brenda Wanga reports on the anguish this and other families are struggling with as they wait to receive the remains of their loved ones.
In Aliava Village, Kolomani constituency, Kakamega County, a family holds firmly onto the images of one of their own. Derek Luogi, aged 54 years, lost his life in the tragic plane crash that occurred over Ethiopian skies on the morning of Sunday, the 10th this month. News of his demise catching the family, especially his ailing mother, flat-footed.
Alikuwa anakuja kunipeleka hospitali. Lakini vile tulikuwa bado tunangojea ndio tunasikia maneno ya ndege ambayo imeanguka. Tulifikiria ni ndege tu imeanguka huko, saa nyingine ni watu wengine. Lakini tulistuka kusikia Derek yako kwa hiyo ndege.
The late Derek was making one of his routine visits to his parent, a trip he had taken every 2 years since he settled in Canada and started a family there.
Derek has been assisting. Alikuwa anasaidia familia sana. Angekuja kila mtu anajua sukari iko.
The anxiety compounded by the uncertainty of the state of the remains of their brother, their son. But even if they are able to identify the remains of their kin, there is the added complication of his dual citizenship of both Kenya and Canada. At the time of his death, he was traveling on a Canadian passport.
Tuone hata ikiwa ni jivu ya mtoto wetu. Tuone hivyo ndio tutasadiki kweli mtoto wetu amekufa.
In Kipkelion West, the family of Kipngetich Rogonyi, a 32-year-old medical student, is grappling with a tragedy that has hit too close for comfort. The medical student was returning home from Ethiopia, where he had gone to install some hospital equipment.
Saidie jamii yetu wapelekwe huko Ethiopia, waanze kutambua mwili wake.
The family has been here before. In 2007, his brother died in the Kenya Airways crash that happened in Douala, Cameroon. This second airplane crash death has left his mother devastated, losing her only remaining breadwinner.
Hata sahi mama wakati alisikia hiyo ripoti ya kuanguka kwa mwanawe kwa ndege, alisirai baka sahi tuko hospitali.
In Matibey village, Larry, the family of the late Father George Mukua is beginning to plan for his last rites once his remains are brought home from Ethiopia. The 40-year-old priest with Marian Hill missionaries had been ordained to priesthood in 2017. The family only learned of his demise yesterday.
Tukuwa tumeongea na yeye last week, lakini nakumbuka tu akienda vile tulikuwa tumesimama na yeye huko nje akituambia sasa he's going and he will be coming back.
He hadn't informed his family that he was traveling that fateful Sunday. Just like Derek's and Kipngetich's, Father George's family is still waiting to receive his remains so that they can lay him to rest. Brenda Wanga, NTV.
Now, in the preceding report by Mel Miendo, she had talked about the Boeing share price dipping, and we can look at some real-time numbers. If you just look up Boeing current market position, since trading started at the New York Stock Exchange at 10 a.m., you can see that the value has gone down right now by about $26.64 US. If you look at the performance for the last 5 days, that particular incident happened, the air crash happened on the 10th of March. And when trading opened on the 11th, which was Monday, you can see that the share price value dropped drastically. And this indicates how far the share price value or how well the shares are doing currently. So Boeing is definitely feeling the heat after that particular air crash. Back to you, Dennis.
Well, 3 people have been killed after a group of suspected bandits from Marakwet staged a raid in Siro, Tiati sub-county. According to reports, the bandits killed 12 cows before getting away with over 414 head of cattle. The bandits allegedly split the cows into 2 groups before driving them towards Tot and Chesongosh area. The Baringo County Police Commander Robinson Diwa has said that security officers have been dispatched to the volatile area in a bid to help pursue and recover the stolen animals.
The leaders of
4 probation officers are nursing serious injuries after they were attacked by a mob as they sought information to put down on a pre-bail report for 3 murder suspects at Omosasa village in West Mogirango, Nyamira County. The injured officers were trying to ask the family of a man killed by another group of government officials in a road accident to accept bond terms that would lead to the release of the accused government officials. NTV Charity Mwangi has the details.
Their deep cuts and aching wounds tell of the pain of the loss of a son, a teacher whose accused killers are awaiting trial. 4 probation officers had visited the victim's home to prepare a pre-bail report before the attack. What they thought was a civil meeting quickly turning into something unexpected.
Walikuwa wananiambia ati wale watu tunataka uitike wapatiwe puliponi. Nikawaambia mimi siwezi.
As we were leaving, one of her daughters, who didn't introduce herself to us, just went outside and raised alarm.
A few minutes later, young men from the area would storm inside the home in the company of the man of the house, and the situation quickly turned from civil to hostile to downright deadly.
Border boys came in whom we had come with. They started beating us. They tied us as he was tying my colleagues. Then he remarked, "Today we are going to burn you here."
At the scene of the confrontation, bullets were scattered all over. The burnt shell of the vehicle the probation officers had traveled in, an indication of just how grave the situation was here. The enraged community are yet to get over the circumstances of the death of one of them. Evan Sayana, a border operative, accidentally hit a government vehicle, and though he thought the issue had been resolved, the three government officials would later returned to the area. A confrontation ensued that left the man dead.
Sasa nilikuwa nataka serikali ione vile itafanya hao watu mambo ya kusema eti pondi iweke wacha wakae ndani huku ndani hadi wafe, kwa sababu ameniachia watoto wachanga, mmoja ako 4 years na mwingine ako 5 months.
Regional Probation Director Johnson Koech has confirmed the attack on his officers, terming it criminal.
I think there is no better description of this group of people than being termed as criminals who have attacked the government.
Koech has urged law enforcement officers to conduct investigations that will lead to the arrest of the participants of what he termed as a heinous act against innocent government officials on duty. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
20 minutes past the hour. We take a short break. We'll be right back with more stories.
Sporty Bet. You love Sporty Bet. Fast app. Faster payout. Fastest live betting. You love Sporty Bet. Good markets. Better bonus. Fast odds. Download the amazing app at sportybet.com. Get sporty. Bet sporty. Sporty Bet.
To the out-of-framers, the turtleneckers, the fringe growers, you don't need to hide anymore. Try Dettol Even Tone. It cleans and helps to reduce the appearance of blemishes caused by oil, dirt and germs, giving your skin a healthy feel. Join the millions that have switched to Dettol Even Tone, now also in pomegranate fragrance, a healthier skin for an even better you. Brought to you by the Kenya Consortium of Medical and Health Professionals. Dettol, be 100%